What's up, everybody? I really appreciate you all for tuning in. I love debates. I love discussions. I love healthy discussions, by the way. And I know a lot of people will look at this year and say it's a wash, but I know I get where people are coming from. Whereas when they say, well, we should lose out because we want the best available picks, and by doing so, we can win the Super Bowl or we can have some things to happen. Now, I can understand that level of thinking. Nevertheless, you try to win every game. You play to win the game. You try to put your best foot forward. Now, I do know that this season is crazy. It's been a crazy season from the beginning, right? And I gave Mike McCarthy his mulligan. I sat back and I said, you know what, mulligan. Mulligan. Let's give the man a mulligan. Now, as far as the defensive side of the situation, they didn't have major catastrophic injuries on there, but player by player began to get hurt in the secondary, and their choices as it relates to who they decided to go with in the safety role was the main issue. Remember when we were saying, hey, you need to go get this guy. You need to give this guy a chance. Bring him in for a cup of coffee. And they was like, nah, we're going to roll with Darian Thompson. So before the season started, I already knew that this defense was going to be kind of like what it was. And especially with Xavier Woods, we already seen that light last year, right? Let me know if I'm wrong. So I posted a situation on my Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter and in the YouTube community. And a lot of people are interacting the best way possible with it. And there's nothing wrong with having your opinion. But here's where I win. When I pull out the facts, you can't argue facts versus opinion, basically. Facts always trumps opinions because it's actuals. When you're dealing with data, when you're dealing with numbers, you always look at the number aspect of it. And numbers are always the universal language, regardless of whether or not you're in China, whether or not you in the United States, whether or not you on the moon, 2 plus 2 will always be the same number. That's just the reality of it. Nevertheless, let me see if I can pull this up on my Facebook so that everybody can see what I'm talking about and we can get this thing going the best way possible. Here's what I got. I got Super Bowl history. I did this before. I talked about this before, and I was telling people that, hey, you don't tank to get to this Super Bowl era. You know, you don't try to lose games. And I'm not saying that the Dallas Cowboys are trying, but I'm just trying to tell people that when you look at this list, and you go line by line, and you say, okay, Green Bay Packers in 2011, okay, the New York Giants in 2012, the Baltimore Ravens in 2013-14, the Seattle Seahawks, which actually started in 2012. If you go back and look at the Seattle Seahawks 2012 season, I think they went 7-9 or something like that, but they continue to fight. They made that acquisition. When they got beast mode, that team started to change as it relates to the mentality. And I think when they got the new coaching staff, when he was able to implement his systems and schemes or what have you, that's what made them and allowed them to get to the Super Bowl in 2014 there. And of course, 2015, and then we have the Denver Broncos, whereas they did a lot of picking as it relates to putting things around Peyton Manning so he can get to that Super Bowl. And we're just going to leave the New England Patriots off the list. We know that they've been a team that, veteran team, well-coached team at the time, and they've been in the Super Bowl fights for several times as you can look at this list. But what brought to my attention to do this entire video was my dog, Marcus Smith, boss Cowboys. He said the Eagles with Chip Kelly, basically. And I said, nice try. The Eagles team won via free agency and trades. Let me know if I'm lying, to be honest, right? And nevertheless, it was a good try to use Chip Kelly as that scapegoat for them tanking to win the Super Bowl. And nobody that I believe outside of him think that the Eagles tanked in order to get to their Super Bowl. And then he says, Law Nation, it was both. Without Chip Kelly, they tank. They don't move up to get Wentz. Without Wentz, there's no MVP run to smooth things out for the Super Bowl. And he said, see more, what have you. But I said, hold up now. Hold up. Chip Kelly win-loss record was not that bad, to be fair. You can't classify that as tanking. And, of course, he goes on some more things and more information about everything. And it's pretty much like he's going back and forth with himself. Because my thing is, and, of course, we can't look at what Jimmy Johnson said. We will try to win with the players' trade from Herschel Walker. And they're going back and forth with that with him and some other person. But my thing is, in 1989, yes, the Cowboys were 1-15. But before that year, we was 3-13, right? We were a team on a downward pattern, and we brought in a new coach who traded away their best player, Herschel Walker, and on top of that, Michael, the playmaker Irvin, was injured and out for the year. We had a rookie quarterback. That was a rebuild. I think that you can't look at a tank and look at rebuild in the same sentence. Nevertheless, let me look up Chip Kelly, because a lot of times we would say to ourselves, okay, Chip Kelly is the reason why they didn't win or what have you, or the reason why they didn't get things going. Chip Kelly pretty much traded away a lot of assets, which was pretty cool for us Cowboys fans, right? But when we started looking at the total picture, let me scroll all the way down. I think I was already on it. Let me see if I can find it right here. Chip Kelly, as you guys can see what's in pink, that's when he made it to the playoffs. In 2013, they were 10-6 for the Philadelphia Eagles. They was 10-6, right? I heard a lot of Eagles fans saying, yes, we got the brilliant philosopher of thinking this college coach is going to take us to the high levels and these sorts of things. And then in 2014, they went 10-6 again. Now, of course, they were mad. They was upset. They was frustrated because you know how it is over there in Philly land, right? Then the following year, in 2015, they went 6-9. Chip Kelly, oh yeah, Chip Kelly was fired. He was fired before the season was let go. He was fired. So that doesn't spell out that he tanked or they tanked or what have you. I think that the following year they got a new coach in, Doug or what have you, and they went 7-9, right? And the following year from there, that's when they won the Super Bowl. So I want people to stop thinking, well, tanking is the way to win the Super Bowl. No, that team had nothing to do with the quarterback, by the way. When they won the Super Bowl, they played good defense, and instead of fly, Eagles fly, they ran the rock. Let me repeat. It was nothing to do with the quarterback. They ran the rock, and they played good defense. They brought in Nick Foles. It was a good new system. The NFL was still trying to figure things out as relates to what type of system Doug was going to run or what have you. But Doug comes from, the system that he came from was a winning philosophy type of system, although they didn't have a lot of trophies and things to showcase for. Let me bring this up. Let me bring up Andy Reid, because I seen some people that were saying that, hey, Law, here's what happened. With the Dallas Cowboys, we're not doing this and we're not doing that. But the Chiefs, they actually tanked in order to get to their Super Bowl. And I was like, what? How do you come up with that? The year is 2020, last year. So you mean to tell me way back in 2012, that's when the Chiefs started to tank in order to get to their Super Bowl? Man, I digress. But let's look at Andy Reid. This guy, always been a good coach, in my opinion. Always been one of those guys that was a difficult situation. When you see the thing that's in pink, that's the times they made it to the playoffs. He always had a team that was fighting. He always had a team to be strolled all the way down. You see what happened in 2020, in 2000. 11-5, this is when he was with the Eagles land. 11-5 in 2001, 2002, 12-4, 2003, 12-4, 13-3 in 2004, right? Then he had a down year in 05, which was good for us. Shout out to that 05 year, right? And then 06, he went 10-6, 2007, 8-8, 2008, 9-6, 11-5, 10-6 in 2010, an 8-8 season in 2011. Oh, yes, in 2012, 4-12. They said, you know what? We done with you, man. We tired of you. We sick of you. That's from the Eagles lands, right? So then he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me know, where do you guys see a losing record? Where do you guys see a losing record? Everywhere this guy been, he have those pink areas, pink areas. That mean he's been into the playoff. And he ultimately won the Super Bowl with this gold in 2019. And on pace to going and repeating what he did from last year. So they had a good coach. And I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs now. I'm not talking about the actual, what do you want to say, the actual Eagles here. So the argument of, hey, you got to tank in order to win a Super Bowl is blasphemous. It's crazy because you got to have the good coach. And I want to tell people to stop thinking like, okay, what Law is saying is that we should win out and be 7-9 or what have you, and we will go to the Super Bowl. No, I'm not saying that. What Law is saying is that you try to figure out how to implement your system, implement your ways, implement a philosophy that everybody can grab hold to, and you can utilize that philosophy. Because at the end of the day, you can't out-debate facts, and that's what it is. Fiction talk, those opinions, they don't hold a lot of substance when you can't show your work. You can't show. When you go out there and say, this should do this, they should do that. Prove your work. Show your work. Oh, I want to show this too for everybody who said that, well, Law, the 49ers, they tanked for Nick Bosa. They wanted to lose every game so that they can get Nicholas Bosa. And I have to bring out the facts because I just want to win in this type of situation because they didn't tank for him. They played hard the last 4 games of the season. They was trying to win. Matter of fact, 2 out of the last 4 games, they actually won. Could have been 3 out of the last 4 games. That's not saying that, okay, I'm trying to lose to get Nick Bosa. Let me pull up that fact for your mind. Man, facts, I speak so much facts, it makes my beard grow, basically. So let's pull this up right here. And we got the 49ers at the end of the season right before the season to draft Nick Bosa. Here's all the last 4 games. They beat the Broncos, right? 49ers versus the Broncos, 20-14. Oh, they beat the Seattle Seahawks. They went into overtime, for crying out loud. 23-26. They won. Oh, the Bears, 14-9. That was a very competitive game. You guys can click the go to the highlights, watch the highlights, watch the entire game. They got the NFL all 22 if you want to watch that. And they went toe-to-toe to the Rams, but ultimately lost towards the latter end of the quarters, 32-48. This does not spell out the fact that you're trying to tank in order to get a certain player. And on top of that, a couple of weeks before that, they went toe-to-toe with the Giants, and also they blew out the Raiders. They was turning the corner. They started to buy into the philosophy and the systems of what the new coach was trying to implement. Yes, they were losing, and they lost out with their particular quarterback or what have you. And everybody knows what happened the following year. They made it to the Super Bowl with the picks or the draft picks that they had. They had a good front four. Previously, before Shanahan got there, their team was always in that middle place as it relates to being bad, and they had multiple picks as it relates to that first tier or top pick or what have you in the draft to help solidify their front. Right? So I just want people to pump the brakes. Not saying that Law is right. I'm just saying that I'm putting out the facts. Now, if you can hit me with some Europe facts, then I'm sitting here and I'm listening. Nevertheless, the Dallas Cowboys quietly, Amari Cooper shined for this 2020 season. Amari Cooper showed that, hey, he can play on the road. So there's some good spotlights to bring out, and as well as Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard showed us that, hey, man, give me the touches, give me the chances. Hey, I know I slipped up in the first part of the year, especially as it relates to the special teams, but I'm picking things up. So those are some bright spotlights that we can look at. Aldon Smith, maybe, just maybe, you kind of finagle a contract in front of him, maybe just make it, Cowboys-friendly type of contract and said, hey, we believe in you. We gave you an opportunity. We gave you a chance. But it's up to the Cowboys to will and deal to get this thing going. That's all the time that I have for this beautiful moment. My phone is ringing off the hooks over here. But don't forget to hit that like button, share this content. Let your friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and Beyond. That's been my time. I thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the facts. But the best. Peace. I'm out.